So first I had a little chat with my neighbor, Steve, after I did this video, the first video. And then I went out walking and I texted my son. I'm like, hey, do you have 20 bucks? Whatever. I just didn't want to go anywhere. And he's like, sure. And plus he owed me 20 bucks. So I just wanted my 20 bucks back. Ha. Anyways, so um, and plus I wanted to see him. 20 bucks was the excuse. And he's like, yeah, sure. So he texted me while I was out chatting, and I came running home to get my son a cup of sugar and go get my 20 bucks. So we end up having a chit chat. And I'm like, yeah, did you see on the news or whatever, the two people that got, or the one person died at the Foothills Hospital from being double jabbed? And he's like, ooh, oof. He says oof all the time. He's like, oof. And I go, yeah. I go, you haven't gotten that? And he's like, no. And I'm like, you're serious? You didn't get it? And he's like, no. And I go, did you cancel your appointment? And he goes, look around, Mom. There's no stuff of my girlfriend's in here. And I was like, and his girlfriend got the JAB, by the way. And I was like, oh. And he really didn't talk about it much. And he goes, well, I just don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit freaked out when she yelled at me because she's a Latina girl, right? Latina girls do not yell at their elders. That's just not a culturally approved thing, I'm pretty sure. She's never yelled at me in the 3 or 4 years that they were dating. Anyways, so I found it shocking, and that was after the JAB. So anyhow, my son and I had a huge, like probably an hour-long conversation. You know what we talked about? Mind-blowing, really. And I'm gonna ask him to come up and help me out one day. And he agreed to it. I said, hey, would you want to come on a show or like to help explain these video games? He was explaining the video game Halo, and he was explaining Star Wars, and then he was explaining this other video game. And I was like, those are all kind of like Bible stories, and it's kind of like what we're going through now. So it was like a big door opened for us to have this really fascinating conversation about med beds and taking, like I said, yeah, he goes, yeah, you told me about them. And I'm like, no, but you know what I heard now is that you can take and do a soul transfer. And he's like, oh, that's like da 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 da. And then he was explaining this game. And I'm probably going to F it up. So he was explaining this game where basically all of the Jedis woke up and they started like fresh. They didn't know who they were. They all had amnesia or something. And the more they unlocked all of their things and worked through their things, they found out that they were master Sith Lords in the previous life, which was completely fascinating. So it's like they woke up to their like Akashic record, basically. That's how I looked at it. And so we had like completely a conversation where it was just, now I feel like I've gotten my foot in the door about what's happened. He talked about the moon landing, and I'm like, dude, stop it. Just stop it. I said, it was 2 weeks after I was born to the day. I said, it's fake. NASA is like fake. The only reason that they're there is to bamboozle us, period, with their fake shit stories. I said, come on, like we lost the technology to go to the moon in 1969. So what I explained to him, I said, you need to go watch the movie JFK to 9/11. Everything's a rich man's trick. Firstly, it's a 3-hour movie. I go, put it on while you're playing video games and listen to it. So you can just look at it there, because I know he does that all the time. And I said, you'll see, he goes right from World War I, World War II, all the way through the mafia, through all of this stuff. He links them all together on how they were behind the scenes to pretty much all of these things that went on. And I said, so 9/11 fake. You know, well, it was a real event, but it was, the story they told after was fake. And all of this is about controlling people. So I said, if you look at us, like I told him about majestic messages from MJ12 and the Bible being a basic instruction before leaving Earth. He goes, well, that's what it means, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, okay, thanks. Thanks, Tips. That's what I was just telling you. And I said, so if you look at that and the things that they've taken out, to manipulate us and control us. I said, so if you look at the news right now, I said, all you get is one side of story. Oh, it's scary. Put on your mask. Get a job. Blah, 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 blah. I said, do you ever hear the other side? And he goes, well, what is the other side? And I'm like, be healthy, get exercise. It's 99.999% curable. You know, like natural immunity, herd immunity, things like that. Those are all things like that have helped me, right? And think for yourself, do some research. I said, but what they're doing right now, and he's 22 years old, so I felt like it was a good way. I said, what they're doing right now is they're mind controlling where you don't know you're being mind controlled. And I said, weak-willed persons can be mind controlled easier. And I think that was what, I'm not weak-minded. Like, so it was like a crack in a nut. Like, to me, I was like, oh, finally, like so much joy filled my heart, so much joy. And I said, well, I was making jokes about his unvaxxed sperm being worth $1 million and more than cryptocurrency. And I told his brothers that, and they didn't respond. And he thought that was funny and stuff like that. So I made a big, huge partnership today. I was not expecting, in the most beautiful way. And I think he needed to see all of that goings on and how things, like, he might have felt pressure to go get the jab because his girlfriend works in the in the healthcare field and stuff like that, or the medicine field. I won't even call it healthcare because they're not caring for your health. But I feel like it cracked wide open today, and I'm just so happy. So not only did I have like a super awesome positive show about what's going on, but now my neighbor who didn't know anything about Romana, he goes, I looked her up, there's 3 million people following her. 3 million people, that's 3 times the amount of people in Calgary. I'm like, it obviously, if it was fake to me, that would have been shut down a long time ago. She would have been ripped apart by all these truthers telling her she's a scam. Sorry, that's not happening. She's activating people to go make action. So thank you guys all for your awesome comments. I've just been having a wonderful day. There's a lady playing music to the seniors in the back. It's just awesome. And they're getting some good entertainment. Most of them aren't wearing their masks outside while they're sitting on the patio. Thank goodness. But yeah, I'm super, 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 super duper excited. I can't really, no. Kids don't think for themselves nowadays because schools are box stores where they just teach you how to think. And if you get out of hand, you get sent to the principal's office. I know all 3 of my boys. I'm very proud to say this now. All 3 of my children never graduated high school. All 3 of them. They got so far and they were like, this is too bullshit. Like, there's too much social drama going on here, and they weren't learning anything. My oldest son started working and in construction, and then he turned himself into a 5-star chef. So, and now he's in construction again and in the military and the reserves. So I'm very proud of my kids, to be honest, because they didn't conform. Like, I fought with them for years, and it was just like, what's the point? Like, what is the point anymore? I've tried bribing them. I've tried but when you think you've learned so much, you shut that off. And it's just, they were immune to some of the bullshit a long time ago. Long time ago. So I feel like I've made the biggest bridge today, the biggest, happiest awakening red pill I could have ever. I'm so excited. So that's all I wanted to say. I love you guys. So see if you can find that happiness in any conversations with your family. We turned a big corner today. The Raven turned a big corner. Love it. I'm so excited. But now I'm going to go out and enjoy the weather and, yeah, go spend my $20 on some weed. That's all I'm going to buy with it too. Just because we can, right? I love you guys. Take care. Have a good day.